Finding solutions to Chelsea Football Club kind of problems. Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, host Jan. I hope you man are all doing well today. I really do hope that. Welcome to Chelsea News, the daily series, kind of, here on Football Therapy, where I talk about Chelsea news, look at what's being said in the rags, and give you my opinion on said headlines. Now, there is a couple of headlines and stories I want to talk about today regarding Fikayo Tomori. Of course, he's enjoying an excellent loan away at Milan. That's right, Milan. And what Thomas Tuchel has been recently saying about Billy Gilmour and how he's now turning to the development squad and looking unlikely to feature much in the first team. But I also want to get into systemically what's happening with this pragmatic approach. Chelsea can't score goals, etc., etc. Subscribe if you're new, drop a like if you want to support me and show your sweet love to Football Therapy as we get into today's video. Now, before I get into the first story today, I do want to talk a little bit about Chelsea not scoring goals. A very smart and respectable defensive record since Thomas Tuchel's come in. We've only conceded to one opposition player, and that is in the shape of Minamino, and that was a silly goal to concede. I believe Zuma might have been playing in the middle of a back three at the time, not something that we've grown accustomed to under Thomas Tuchel, and it was a sloppy goal to give away. So the defensive record is nothing short of immaculate. But why is that? Well, it's something that I've spoken about so many times here in Football Therapy. A combination of two things. A hybrid of Sarri's football at Chelsea and Antonio Conte. A three-back system with two more defensive sixes sitting on front, and five along the front in a really wide attack that often results in benign possession that doesn't really do much, especially with Jovicic in the midfield, Kovacic and Jorginho recycling very well possession like a metronome, and Chelsea ultimately looking rather toothless and playing rather safe. Now, it's worked so far, and I think it's still the smart thing to do, like I say, sensible pragmatism, but it's leaving Chelsea lacking in the final third. Now, you can turn to the forwards for poor finishing. I think that's very important. You can turn to the midfield for being overly functional and less ambitious, and perhaps that we are playing with an extra centre-back. Now, the three centre-backs playing at the moment, Christensen, Rudiger and Azpilicueta, are all really suited to those roles, and of course Thiago Silva, first choice in the middle of that back three, walks back in despite Andreas Christensen having a super renaissance in his Chelsea career and playing very well. The truth is, it's something that I've seen around social media and some people talking recently, is that Chelsea perhaps don't have the best centre-halves suited for an elite pairing, as in just two for a back four system. Granted, Thiago Silva could do that, but perhaps his mobility would let him down. He looks like an absolute Rolls Royce world-class centre-half in the back three, and although he still looks very good in the back four, Chelsea don't really have those two shining, dominant centre-halves, and we know that how important that is in the Premier League if you're to play a sort of dynamic system with a back four. Just look at Virgil van Dijk coming into Liverpool, making them great. Just look at Ruben Dias, Manchester City having an amazing season, and as things stand, he's my sort of PFA player of the year. Just incredible. He's made John Stones so much better as well, and they look so defensively resolute with a back four and not a back five or back three, whichever way you want to talk about it. So you can understand why Chelsea are continuously being linked with a world-class centre-half, or at least a really good one, whether it's Jose Mourinho, Jimenez, or, you know, Nicolas Schüller, or David Alaba, who apparently wants to play in midfield, or even at times Raphael Varane, who now is being more heavily linked to Manchester United and Liverpool. But Chelsea have been linked slightly. You can understand where it's coming from. It's a cruel world, because Chelsea have good performing centre-halves in a back three system, but with this benign possession Chelsea have been passing around, not looking like they can score a goal, you really feel like you need to take out a centre-back and put in another midfielder so you can put in another attacker. Just move everyone up the pitch a little bit more. So Chelsea have a good performing centre-half. Whether he could be one of these world-class two in a pairing, I'm not so sure, but that's Fikayo Tomori, which leads us to our first story in today's video. Tomori has been enjoying an excellent loan spell away in Milan. Matt Law of The Telegraph and frequent guest of the London is Blue podcast has commented on how he's really integrating well. He's learning Italian every day and he's loving the experience out there. Of course, Maldini is a big fan of him, bringing him over to AC Milan. And due to injuries and other reasons, he got put in pretty quickly, but the AC Milan fans absolutely love him. The club seems to be very happy with him. And Fabrizio Romano has come out and reiterated Maldini's admiration of the player. Essentially, they are very interested in retaining the player if possible. It's about £28 million, which they do see as a lot of money, but they do look like they're going to secure Champions League football probably regardless, which obviously offers a lot of revenue to an Italian club, and they probably look like it's looking more and more likely that they'll want to sign Tomori. And if, you know, Thomas Tuchel can't promise him you're going to start for me every game regardless, come home, you know, he's having a lovely time in Milan, learning the language. Well, I'm starting to think in my gut there's a very strong chance that Fikayo Tomori makes the transfer to the Serie A giants, especially considering how he's been pushed around for loans again, you know, Hull, Derby in the Championship in England, you know, slugfest. If he can play like some superb football away in Milan, challenge for trophies, learn the language, you can understand why he might want to do that rather than taking the risk of maybe not playing for Chelsea. We'll have to see. Thomas Tuchel is an analyst. He will look at him in the summer and say, right, can I make something of him? But I do worry for the potential exit permanently. So when it comes to centre-backs and bringing in some world-class personnel to allow Thomas Tuchel to go back to a back four system to hopefully let us score more goals, it's a weird one, it's a difficult one, but I will of course keep you guys updated on any stories where Chelsea are linked to centre-halves. Make sure you're subscribed and make sure the bell notifications icon is switched on as we move into the next story and talk about Billy Gilmour. Now, this is an interesting one. Gilmour hasn't done much wrong as a Chelsea first teamer. He came in last season under Lampard, won consecutive Man of the Match awards against both Merseyside clubs in impressive victories in both games. People were waxing lyrical about him and he got injured. He's come back in, he's trained very well, and he looks like he can play at the highest level, but most notably and importantly, he might be this kind of forward-thinking midfielder that can get Chelsea up the pitch quicker. Of course, Kovacic is excellent. I'm a massive fan. What a classy midfielder. Jorginho is a very good specialist, and they have very good chemistry together. And of course, we all know what N'Golo Kante brings. But between all of them, there's no real progressive thinker. Of course, Billy Gilmour can stick a tackle in, and he's good at, you know, blocking off passing lanes and being functional like this current Chelsea midfield. But he also modelled his game on Cesc Fabregas. He said it himself when he was in the academy at Chelsea. He always used to watch Cesc Fabregas. This is the kind of player we might need in the midfield to get some early service into the Chelsea forwards or wing backs in this system. Billy Gilmour could offer that, and rather disappointingly, he's, you know, he's going back to the development squad to play games for them, when really, I think he should be given more of a chance in the first team. At least make the matchday squads and come off the bench, which recently he hasn't been. I'm going to read you a quote from Thomas Tuchel about what he originally said about Billy Gilmour not so long ago. As a player, he's got a lot of qualities. He's very self-confident in our training games, is very strong on the ball, is a very strong passer, and is smart in finding positions. He has all abilities and the physical ability to play for us in the first team. We have a strong midfield, and he's clearly right now one of the 4 players in central midfield. The other 3 players are Kovacic, Jorginho and N'Golo Kante. So off the bat from there, he's saying yes, he's very good, trains very well, high ability, similar level to our current midfielders. Let's read on the rest of the quote. It's not easy for Billy to find his place, and maybe he's the number 4 right now in my head. To be the number 4 for 2 positions is a pretty good start for Billy. I wanted him to stay in January because he has a big impact in training games and his quality is obvious. We are happy to have him and are absolutely ready to push him and support him in this way. Right, so Tuchel seems to say all the right things in terms of praising his entire squad, but often not picking that many players. He has rotated in certain positions, and you know, that midfield 2 is pretty much Jorginho and Kovacic, and he brings in Kante when he feels like he needs to be more defensively resolute in transition, like against Manchester United. But surely now he looks at the point where he's like, well, I need more progression, I need more forward thinking. And, you know, out of the 4 midfielders, the most forward thinking is Billy Gilmour, who you've been waxing lyrical about in interviews and press conferences. So surely it's the moment to bring him in. We all want Erling Haaland, and we all want a mega striker who's high in confidence and will just score goals regardless. We want that, and I want that personally. Hopefully he comes. But for the short term, we need more functionality to ensure we get into the top 4, which is no given. It's an absolute super tight race at the moment. So I think if we need a little, we clearly need to score more goals. We scored the odd 1-0, maybe a 2-0 if we're lucky, if the team's really, really bad. But we need someone to really push the ball up midfield and get it early. Billy Gilmour could possibly be that man for me. Anyway, I wanted to talk about that headline and that, potentiality in today's video. So get down in the comment section and let me know your thoughts, feelings and opinions on the defenders, the defence, the midfield and the strike force. I want to hear what you guys think. So comment your thoughts, drop a like if you've enjoyed the content, subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the football, and I will see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby.